lady yields back, and the chair now recognizes the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Huizenga, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Secretary Blinken, appreciate you being here. But I do have to express some deep concerns. You and the administration are holding munitions hostage from our ally Israel in what many believe is an effort to score a few political points in swing states like mine back home. And meanwhile, as an actual hostages being held, some of whom are American and documented to be Americans, that would be perceived by many of us as a complete slap in the face to those hostages who are yet being left behind. Meanwhile, oil profits in Iran have skyrocketed under your and the Biden tenure due to a lack of sanctions enforcement. I sit on the Financial Services Committee. I'm part of those sanctions, the creating of those. In 2020, Iran was exporting 400,000 barrels per day of oil. 2023, that has reached 2 million barrels a day. And what has changed, and why have the Ayatollahs decided to flip the switch under the Biden administration, is something that many of us have been concerned about and expressing. And meanwhile, we have a situation where the president of Iran went down in a helicopter crash, and one of your deputies at the UN and yourself had expressed condolences over this. I'm curious, is the world a safer place because of your efforts to offer respect to a leader who murdered, tortured, and exterminated thousands of Iranians, has been behind every proxy war that we've been involved in, which is responsible for American deaths? I mean, how is that bringing any respect? How is that advancing your agenda on the world stage?
Our views of Mr. Raisi and the horrific actions he took both as a judge and as a president in repressing his own people, our policies toward Iran, including working to impose sanctions on more than 600 individuals and entities, 200 in the petrochemical sector. None of that has changed or will change, as I mentioned earlier.
Why would you offer condolences and the official condolences of the United States government to somebody who has murdered our troops?
When the leader of another country dies, as in the past, this has often been the case, we've expressed official condolences, but it doesn't go to our feelings about that person or the actions that he's taken.
I wonder what my friend from Miami would think about us offering condolences to many of those Latin American leaders that we were just talking about. I think I know the answer because I would agree with her. In the meantime, I've introduced a resolution condemning this inappropriate decision by your department, and I urge all my colleagues to sign on to that. I'm going to transition to NATO here for a couple of minutes. Just last week, I did something that's rarely done here in the U.S. Congress. I united foreign diplomats and a few members on this committee who were in a bit of an uproar when I dared to mention that certain countries are not pulling their weight by meeting a 2% defense spending benchmark in the NATO alliance. It was certainly, I think, fair game on my end. It seemed a bit unexpected from them, especially when we see some countries heading in the wrong direction with their defense spending, literally going backwards in this. Do you believe your efforts will get the remaining 8 nations of Belgium, Canada, Spain, Luxembourg, Turkey, Slovenia, and Portugal across the 2% threshold by the agreed-upon 2024 timeline?
I think by the end of this year, Congressman, we'll probably have maybe 20 or 21 of the 32 allies that are across the 2% threshold. The others should have clear plans to achieve that threshold. We've gotten more countries.
Okay, what about those nations that are offering no real timetable and instead are going backwards?
Yeah, we want to see them offer a timetable and make it clear how they're going to get to the 2%.
But how are you getting those conversations moving?
Believe me, we're engaged with them on a constant basis to get that done. And President Biden's been deeply engaged. I've been deeply engaged, and we've made significant progress in having well over now 2/3 of the alliance that will meet the mark. And we want to make sure that we have clear plans from the others to do it.
I guess I'm still not hearing what you are doing to make sure that those plans are being come forward. Are you demanding or requesting those plans to be presented?
We are certainly requesting them, yes.
And will you be sharing those with this committee?
As soon as we get information from partners about what they plan to do, and it's public information. We'll make it known.
Well, we have to. America is not safer abroad right now, whether it's our southern border or what's been happening in the Middle East. We need to make sure that we have a strong front on that. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from North Carolina, Ms. Manning, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Secretary, thank you for your very dedicated service to our country and your tireless